What's up, desktopers? Welcome back to Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video and another weekly bodybuilding breakdown with myself, Xavier Wills and Michael Galley. And today we're discussing a range of topics from Hafthor Bjornsson versus Eddie Hall. We've got a boxing match coming up, and we also discuss Thor's 501 kilo insane deadlift. Plus, Seth Feroce has torn his tricep and he has surgery on that. Also, Josh Lenartowicz, is he retired? Is he not? We've got more information on that, plus much more. If you guys like this content, please give this video a thumbs up and smash that like button. Also, subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way, you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy the video. Welcome back to Desktop Bodybuilding. I'm Xavier Wills, joined by Michael Galley for another weekly bodybuilding breakdown, and we've got a range of topics. But Mick, how you doing this week?
I'm good. I'm actually a little bit excited. We just spoke before we started recording. So Texas gyms, they look like they're going to open on the 18th of this month. So fingers crossed, we've only got 2 more weeks before they reopen, which is exciting. So that will be, what's that, 7, 8, 9? That will be 9 weeks of no training, except for those silly bands over in the corner. Wow. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. So something to look forward to.
Do you know what's crazy? You guys have had over 60,000 deaths in America. We've had, I think it's over 60,000. And then we've had under 100 deaths, but we're still on about the same timeline to open up gyms in Australia.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I heard Northern Territory is going to open up, aren't they, first?
Yeah, they've had, I think, hardly any cases. They've pretty much been pretty clean through this whole thing. Western Australia hasn't had a new case in over 6 days or 7 days now. So we're pretty good. I think we've only got, as of yesterday, I think we had 15 active cases, and that's it. So we've almost eradicated it out of WA, but we are going to be opening up borders at some stage soon, and who knows what will happen then. But fingers crossed, man, that this just stays away, because there's, even not just to mention the risk of all the deaths and stuff, but just literally people's livelihoods in terms of financially making money and stuff. Like, even for myself, I have clients that say, yeah, I'll start back up coaching when gyms open up again. I'm like, come on, gyms, like, open up.
Yeah. We're the same. I guess both of us know a lot of people back home that have got gyms themselves. Some of my close mates who I speak to regularly, and I hope it happens soon, because yeah, it's a huge burden for them to have at the moment. So yeah,
that's crazy, man.
Let's hope this month.
Yeah, and that's who I really feel for, the gym owners and stuff. Like, even like Mark Gretsch and John Davey and all those guys. I'm literally just thinking about them a lot of the time, thinking like, I'm glad I don't have a gym right now. So
all the World Gym crew, yeah, a lot of our friends have got World Gyms all around the country. So yeah, let's hope.
And I talked about this in my last video, but Gold's Gym has gone into bankruptcy. It sounds like Planet Fitness or one of those other ones is potentially going to go into bankruptcy. I think
24 Hour Fitness are also looking at, I think they call it Chapter 11 over here that they're looking at. So yeah, that's huge as well. But it's tough on it's tough on everyone. It's really, really hard. Some other good news, and I'll just bring it up really quick, is bodybuilding.com, who have been around for 20 years now. So they've just brought the company I work for, ATP Science, on as one of their wellness brands. So that was really exciting news to get last week, and it's something huge. We've been working on for quite a few months now. So yeah, we're really pumped about that, and that's definitely going to help with brand awareness in the States as well, which is fantastic news. So well done to the team. I know there was quite a few involved getting this through the over the line, so it was fantastic.
Oh, brilliant work, man. That's absolutely awesome. And to get on bodybuilding.com is crazy, huge news. So I used to work for a supplement company. When they got on bodybuilding.com, it was like, wow, that's massive. So congratulations. And I'm sure you had a massive deal with that, because you're the main dude in the US for ATP Science. So congrats, man. But let's launch into our first topic, and it's Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Bjornsson, or Thor, whatever you want to call him. He's better known as Thor, because Hafthor Bjornsson is a bit harder to say. Now, these dudes are fighting in a boxing match, but let's go back to where this sort of started. So these guys went, I think Eddie Hall won it in 2016, the World's Strongest Man. I think it was 2016 or 2017. Next year, Hafthor Bjornsson actually won it. And Hafthor Bjornsson actually said that Eddie Hall shouldn't have won it because he won by a point or something, and there's some sort of controversy. And that's sort of where their rivalry started. Now, Eddie Hall, he deadlifted 500 kilos. Was that in Australia? I think it was, the Arnold Classic Australia.
I actually don't know that one.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure. And Arnold was there yelling at him, like telling him, yeah, come on, or whatever. Yeah. Or at least at the time, he did break a record, a deadlift record at that stage. And then he obviously went on to lift 500 kilos. Hafthor Bjornsson literally just lifted 1 kilo heavier while on lockdown. Now, this wasn't in competition or anything like that, like Eddie Hall's was. Both were using wrist straps, so it's sort of not an official record, I guess. But now these guys are going to box because they've been talking smack to each other and both have been paid pretty handsomely. So, Mick, what do you think about, first of all, the deadlift was insane. What do you think about that?
Oh, mate, that's crazy. Have you ever stood next to Thor?
I have, and I feel very, very small.
It's a very weird feeling, isn't it? Because I'm not that tall. I'm pretty short. So not only is he quite tall, but he's bloody massive. That deadlift was insane. I love that sort of stuff. I know even when we go to the Arnold Classics, the strongman events are so popular, man. You just hear the crowds wherever we've got a booth. That's all you can hear is them screaming and chanting. But to see him lift that, and he did it, reasonably easy. He got it up there, and he definitely could have put maybe a little bit more weight on there as well for another one. But yeah, very impressive.
Absolutely. And yeah, like it wasn't one of these ones where they're struggling and shaking to get it up like for ages. Like he got it up and really pulled it up and it looked like very, very impressive. So that was crazy straight up. Now these two are boxing. The bout is set for 2021 in September. So I saw September and I was like, oh, they must be doing it with no crowd. But then obviously it's 2021. So we've got a while to wait still. But both these guys apparently getting paid over $1 million US, which is pretty incredible money, and I'm sure that maybe they'll get some sort of endorsements around it. Maybe they'll be able to put sponsors on their shorts or whatever. So I'm sure they're not just going to be seeing that $1 million or just over $1 million each. I'm sure it might end up being closer to $2 million by the time these guys come around to September next year. And it's going to be very interesting to see if these guys will go all in boxing training for the best part of a year and a half, or if they'll still do World's Strongest Man, because Hafthor Bjornsson came out, as you said, and said that he's going to put a year and a half into this.
Yeah, when you see that it's for September 21, hopefully it's on the Olympia weekend. I mean, that would be fantastic. And if that's the case, I would say that will be one of the most well-attended Olympias ever, because that's something I would love to go watch. If they're both putting,
we could go watch that. We can make it happen.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure, we'll make that happen.
Yeah.
I think if both of them put a year and a half into it, it could be quite interesting. That obviously both going to have to drop a fair bit of weight and get their endurance up. But yeah, I don't know. I think a year and a half is solid training. And there's, like you said, there's definitely beef between these two. So both of them are going to want to win. It's not like it's a charity fight or something like that. There's a lot on the line here. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, same, man. Do you think it gets to a point where these guys, they go to fight each other and they almost, like, I suppose they know they're going to get paid more if they play it up a bit. So I think there's a rivalry there, but I think now it's got to the stage where they said to probably each other behind closed doors, hey, let's play it up. Let's really go at each other, because they're probably literally going from, maybe making 500,000 to making $1 million, So I think publicly they're definitely playing it up, but there's a definite beef there in the first place. I know that much.
Yeah, I reckon there'll be a lot of smack talk over the next year and a half. A lot of little Instagram stories going back and forth with each other and things like that. I did see a YouTube clip yesterday with Eddie Hall in the ring. And I'm not sure when it was. It was some sort of about Eddie definitely needs to get his stamina up a bit, for sure, and go from there. But I wouldn't want to be hit by either of them as it stands right now, let alone in a year and a half when they're fully, into it.
Absolutely. And I saw Kai Greene actually commented on one of the photos and said, wait, first of all, actually, who do you think will win?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, Kai's had a pretty...
No, I'm talking about Hafthor and Eddie Hall first.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez. I'll go... if I'm going to pick one a year and a half out, I'll go Thor.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because think about it, he's a taller guy, which Eddie Hall isn't short either. But Hafthor Bjornsson is taller, so he's probably going to have a longer reach. He doesn't seem as he's obviously a huge, thick dude, but he doesn't seem as bulky as Eddie Hall. Because even when Eddie Hall did that sort of cut down and he still had abs, he was still so thick, like everywhere. He still looked like in a t-shirt that he would just be fat. You know what I mean? So I think that Thor will have a bit more agility. He'll have a longer reach. And he's even said that he's going to train 1.5 years for it. So with Eddie Hall does World's Strongest Man in the next year and thinks, obviously, it's a good opportunity to win it. And then, he's still going to get paid over $1 million anyway. So who cares? Or if he'll go all in, who knows? But Hafthor Bjornsson has committed to it, and it'll be interesting to see if he does World's Strongest Man too. Because if he's going to train 1.5 years for this boxing match, then I don't think that he really will do World's Strongest Man.
You wouldn't be able to. You're losing too much weight. There's no way they'll have the leverage to sort of lift that sort of poundage that they do, and then there's potential of injury as well if they do, try and push it in getting those weights up.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Kai Greene, he commented on one of these pictures or videos. I think it was on Eddie Hall's video that he put up, he basically said he'll fight Phil Heath for free. And I mean, Kai Greene says a lot of things on a lot of these photos. I noticed it's probably something from his social media team saying, hey, comment on these like other influencers, heaps, because he'll put like 4 comments, 5 comments under all these things saying different stuff. And I think that, it's to get him more exposure, obviously. So I think that Kai's just saying it out of jest, but how much do you think it would take to pay Phil and Kai to actually to fight each other in a ring?
Well, I don't know if Kai's saying he'll do it for free. I wish he'd actually do the Olympia, where he's going to get paid. I'd love to see him on the Olympia stage. Then they could do something maybe afterwards. But, I don't know. For some reason, I just can't vision those two in the boxing ring together going blow for blow. I can't see it. And if they were, again, both would have to drop a lot of weight, I would say. But, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I just can't see it. I just can't see it happening.
I would love to see it, like, as risky as it would be for injury, I would love to see them actually do it like they both competed in the Olympia, they both did it afterwards, and they're both shredded. Because how cool would it be to see Kai Greene and Phil Heath shredded and massive boxing each other? I think that would just be the coolest thing. But if they were both like really fluffy, I feel like it wouldn't be as exciting. If they were both shredded, it would be like, wow, look at these monsters fighting each other, Like, it would just be on another level.
There's been some pretty good boxers over the years too, though, in the pro ranks. Like Mike Mazzarato was a very, very good boxer. I'm just trying to think of who was the guy that there was a guy that knocked out Sean Ray in Gold's Gym in the early 90s. I can't remember his name, but yeah. Anyway, he was another one that wasn't too bad either, and obviously laid Sean out with one punch. There's been a few guys over the years that would probably. I would have loved to see Mazzarato in the ring up against someone. Actually, he was he was just an absolute crazy when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say Mazzarato, like, I never knew a huge amount about him, but the vibe I got from him is that he was a bit of a nutter. Like, he was crazy. Like, he's the kind of guy you wouldn't want to cross because he would mess you up.
Just let him be.
Yeah. I don't know why I got that impression, but maybe just stories I've heard or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, okay, Mike, no worries. It's all good.
Yeah. So who would win? Would it be Kai Greene or Phil Heath?
If I had to pick, and you put me on the spot again, if I had to pick, I'd probably go Kai. I don't know why. I don't know. Do you remember when they had that on the Olympia stage? And Kai, they kept bumping into each other, and Kai looked at him and tried to,
I was there.
In his face, Olympia. Yeah, and I just remember it obviously started Phil, and no one's going to expect that when you're on stage. But I just remember Phil, he literally within 20 seconds started holding fluid. His physique actually just started to go backwards on stage at that moment for a little bit. So I don't know if that's interesting. It would have been interesting to see if they'd flared up on stage.
I've got to say, I didn't notice that, but when I was sitting there watching the Olympia and that happened, I was like, because I was wanting to go to the Olympia and see something iconic happen. You know what I mean? I wanted to come in and see Kai Greene take the Olympia, or someone else or Phil Heath to bring the best Phil Heath ever, or something like that. That was like, I could say I was at that Olympia, and when that happened, I was like, I've got my moment.
What a first Olympian to see that! Because let's face it, I've never seen anything like that on a stage before. Not even the amateur ranks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting.
I've got to tell you, the backdrop to that Olympia, I don't know if you remember it, but at the finals, it looked like, it was almost like grey. It looked so bad. That was the worst backlight to the Olympia that I've ever seen in my life.
It wasn't now. There was, 2013 Olympia. That was one of the ones I'm thinking of. And I think it was 2 days after the Olympia, we were at one of the gyms. It's famous, one of the gyms with this awesome light. I can't remember the name. Someone will probably remember and put it in the comments. And I was there helping Charles Lothian with the shoots. And we shot a lot of the top pros, but he shot he shot Kai first, and Kai was great. He was pretty cool to shoot. And then Phil came in. And I remember neither of them would come near each other, and it was the most awkward sort of situation you'd seen. And then they had no choice. They actually had to go past each other, like Phil was coming in, Kai was going out, sort of thing. And yeah, it was just you could see the tension. There was definitely tension there.
So you said that was after 2013. Was that the year
that one was 2000?
Sorry.
No, yeah, that was the 2013 Olympia. So I don't think that was the year that they had that thing on stage.
Was that the year that Kai Greene wrote down on the Mr. Olympia posters, Mr. Olympia? He signed his name as Mr. Olympia?
I think it was. Yeah, I think that was the year.
So Phil wasn't happy about that. And honestly, if I was Phil, I would be pissed about that too. But Kai Greene, it really sort of was a smart move because it got people talking. It got people, I suppose it built the rivalry even more. So it was a smart move on Kai Greene's part. But if I was Phil, I actually would have legitimately been pissed.
Yeah, I'd be the same. I think Phil was well in his right to be upset about that. He's Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
You don't go writing something on that you're not. I can see why Kai did it, but I don't think he should have done it. But
nah. And the Olympia I was at as well, I had a flight that went from Perth to Melbourne, which was a red eye, so which means, for those who don't know, that means overnight flight. And then I was in Melbourne for about 5 hours till about 10 a.m.
Oh.
I flew from Melbourne to LAX, which is LA. I was there. It was a quick turnaround. I think it was about an hour and a half between getting on my flight to Vegas. So I quickly just got my flight to Vegas, got to Vegas, had someone pick me up, took me to my hotel. I dropped my bags and went straight to the Olympia press conference. And I just made it there. I made it I basically lined up, and there's a huge line. I'm thinking, am I going to get into this? Because it was just basically circling around Caesars, around all the pokies and everything like that. And I got in, I'd say, with about maybe 20, 30 seats to spare. So I was lucky that I actually got into that. And that was the one where Kai Greene and Phil Heath went at each other hard. Like Kai brought up. Sorry?
What year was that?
Oh, I can't even remember, but it was the year that Kai Greene challenged Phil on stage with, went in his face and all that sort of stuff. So that was that same year. So we had the press conference where it went down, and Kai said a few things that people were like, oh, that was a bit personal towards Phil. And then, obviously what went down on stage. So that was the real one where those two butted heads, and I think they really didn't like each other at that stage, to be honest. So that was pretty exciting. And when I saw that Olympia press conference, I was sitting there, and you felt awkward sitting there. I wasn't even near the front, and I was like, the few things Kai said, I was sitting there, and I was filming the whole thing as well, and I was like, oh, I feel awkward. So.
Oh dear. Yeah. They had a few good little back and forths over the years, didn't they?
Yeah, good times. Yeah. Good times. I miss that rivalry. Yeah, but let's move on. Let's discuss a few other topics, and we'll wrap this one up because we're also going to have a Q&A as well for those who don't know, because we missed last week's episode. So we're going to make up with it for a weekly bodybuilding breakdown Q&A as well. So we're going to do that after this, and it'll go up the next day. But I want to quickly touch on Seth Feroce, who's a very popular YouTuber, was a great bodybuilder back in the day as well. Like not even that long ago, really 5-10 years or something like that. Probably more like 10 years actually now. He was a phenomenal 202 bodybuilder. I don't even know if he moved into the open, but he's torn his tricep. He's basically, sounds like he's riding around, I don't know if he has a farm or what he has, but he has a bit of land, I think. Riding around out there, came off and just tore his tricep totally, needed surgery on it. Got it pretty much straight away, and for someone like Seth Feroce who just loves training, like the dude stays in phenomenal shape, stays big year round. I mean, I reckon he's probably going to go insane, man.
Yeah, that's a tough one, eh? Like, I love Seth. I think he's awesome. I watch a lot of his stuff on his YouTube channel. He's got a huge following. But yeah, you're right. I think it was maybe just over 10 years ago when he was really burst on the scene. And I remember when he won his pro card, he looked amazing. Then he competed as a 202 and looked fantastic. And he was a bit on and off at a few shows after that. But yeah, not the best news. But we know how. I mean, look at one of our good mates, Jimmy, who tore his tricep off, and you do the right rehab, which Seth will, and all that sort of stuff, and you can bounce back from it, relatively quick. So maybe half the year.
Fingers crossed for him. And obviously, like, the stuff that's used in bodybuilding as well can actually help that recovery. So compared to someone who's natural but totally tears their tricep, compared to someone who might be using things like, growth and things like that. Not saying that Seth does, but I think Seth's pretty open about stuff anyway. But that can obviously improve the healing process, and you can heal a lot quicker. So
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So did you see the pictures he put up on his Instagram? And it actually showed you the surgery that opened up, opened up. Yeah, wow.
I'll put some of these photos over. I'll put them up in just 1 second. If you don't want to see the surgery photos, just don't watch the next few seconds. But yeah, he actually put all that stuff up. So like, if I ever get anything done again, like surgery wise, because I had my hernia done, I've had a few other things. Sounds like I've had a sex change or something, but I haven't had much done. But yeah, like I'm going to get whoever does it to take a photo. So, because I think that's pretty cool. But actually, I do have a photo of my arm open because I had a mole cut out of it. And it's actually amazing how big of a hole they make. Because he said, I need to cut it like a big oval and then stitch it all together. But the hole was probably like about that on my arm. And I said, I was laying back because I was awake while he's cutting it out. And I could just feel, because they obviously numb it, I could just feel the pressure around it, you know what I mean, where it wasn't numb. But I could feel it hacking at my arm, and I was like, geez. And then when it was when it was open, I said, do people normally look at it? And he goes, oh, not usually. And I go, should I? And he goes, it's up to you. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to see this, because I feel like it's going to be a bit, but I looked at it, and I was like, whoa. Like, I was just shocked. Because he had obviously all the stuff around it, the paper stuff, the stuff that absorbs all the blood and stuff. And he had all that sitting around, and there's a lot of blood and stuff around. I was like, wow, I've really bled out a fair bit here. But he basically said that I was bleeding a bit more than normal, and they actually have things in there that it sort of like zaps. I don't know if it's the blood vessels or what it is, but it stops you from bleeding. It's like a little zapper thing, and I'm like, I don't even know how that works or whatever. But he's like, oh yeah, I'll just grab that, and he's just doing that, and it's pretty unique. But I always find it very interesting, and to think that, like, I was looking down at my arm and it was a big open hole there, and you're looking at stuff, you see like yellow looking stuff in there, and you think, what even is that? Is that muscle or is that whatever? So I always find that stuff interesting, but I understand why people find it pretty disgusting.
Yeah. Some people can freak out by it, can't they?
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people. If they looked down and saw their arm and it was open like that, they'd probably faint. But for me, I was just like, oh yuck! It just surprised me what it looked like. So. But pretty cool. But anyway, let's discuss one more topic. Josh Lenartowicz. I did a video yesterday that went up on Desktop Bodybuilding, so you can go and check that out. But basically, Josh Lenartowicz has sort of announced he may be retired. He's been through a whole lot in the past couple of years. But Mick, I pretty much want to ask you, do you think Josh could come back if he decides to make a comeback? Because he said he's only going to come back if he can improve. Do you think that he can actually do that and bring his best package of all time? Or do you think that his best was back in those 2015 to 2017 years?
You know what? It's hard, because I guess at the end of the day, that really comes down to Josh and where he's at mentally and physically, I guess. I think standing back, he's still young enough, for sure.
He's still just turned 37.
Was he 37?
Yeah, just turned 37.
No, still got a few good years then, for sure. I think I always thought your peak years actually are from your 31, 32. These days, up and around 40, 41. Yeah. Most guys can really stay consistent throughout those years. I think he just needs bit of time off, like he said. Just enjoy his family. You know, he's got a beautiful wife and he's got his little kid. Just chill and just see where this year maybe takes him and reassess from there. But I'd love to see him back. I think Josh, my favourite look for Josh was when he won Tampa. To me, I loved it. He was very big. He was round. He was really hard. I thought he was fantastic that year. So, yeah, I hope so, mate.
I loved his look, man, because he looked healthy as well. So he looked healthy. He's not that he didn't in other comps as well, but he was healthy with that extra size. So that's what I really liked about that look. And I thought, okay, the only improvements I'd make on that is maybe being just 1-2% sharper, and that's about it. But he was, like you said, in very good condition. He was very big. But even last year in 2019 at the Big Man Weekend that he won, he beat James Hollingshead and a few other names there. I thought he looked actually very good there as well. And he says that his prime years were back in 2015 to 2017. I think that Big Man Weekend, he looked pretty damn good. And I don't even think that's his best as well. So I think Josh could come in and be better than he's been in the past. And his best in the past has been, just inside the top 10 of the Olympia. I think Josh could be a top 5 Olympian, potentially even go higher. It just depends what Josh's best is, because we really don't know what Josh's best is now. We don't know if it's been already. We don't know if it's still going to be his best coming up. I just think that he's had so many hardships and he's forced himself really to get on stage while he's been going through a lot of stuff that's really, I suppose, made him maybe think that he's not capable of, I suppose, being better than he has been in the past. But I think in reality he really is.
Yeah, I think he just needs a good stress-free, I know it's hard to say stress-free prep, but a prep that everything goes his way for once. Yeah. And like you said, that Big Man show, Patrick Puda, who's a well-known coach and actually a good mate of mine who I've got to know really well at last year's Olympia, and we spent a lot of time together. Obviously, he was prepping Aaron and Logan, and Pat helped him out those last couple of days there and really got him in nicely. Pat also helped him for the Arnold Classic as well, but I guess, there was a lot going against Josh for that prep as well. But I would love to see 100% Josh with Pat coaching him as well, and I think we would absolutely see the best Josh ever.
Yeah, Patrick Tua has done amazing things, like with Aaron, with just a ton of guys. Like, there's that guy, I can't even remember his name, to be honest. He's a reasonably new pro that competed last year that Patrick's working with, and he was like phenomenal. Like, I think he turned in pro, and then he competed in his first pro comp in the same year or the year after or something, and he was like, he's a guy that's like people need to watch out for. And yeah, he seems like everyone he works with comes in great shape, and they don't even seem to come in, you see some coaches that bring guys in great shape, but they come in really flat a lot of the time. But he seems like he doesn't bring his guys in super flat while he still gets them in super great condition. So he's obviously a great coach, and I would love to see that combination of Josh Lenartowicz working with him. So
yeah, I agree, mate. And like, he's very old school. He's the meat and potatoes diet, your cardio. There's no magic. There's no secrets to it. And that's what I loved when I obviously saw Aaron's prep and Logan's prep, and then when I finally got to meet him, and we hit it off because we were such big fans of bodybuilding. We had so many good stories to tell from the 90s and things like that. So we got along like a house on fire. I think I said to Pat, if this was 5 to 8 years ago, I'd be begging for his help for a prep. Absolutely begging for his help. I rated him that much.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. But that's pretty much it. I want to mention, before we wrap up this show, I want to welcome a sponsor to the channel as well, which is Hostile. So if people want to check out their products in terms of their supplements, their apparel, hostile.com, which is 2 S's in that Hostile as well. And if people want to get a discount as well, use XAV10, which is XAV, and then the number 10, and you'll get 10% off your order. And the thing is as well, like, people don't actually realize these products are legit. Like, when I was actually first contacted by Fuad, I hadn't checked out his products, because it's owned by Fuad Abiad, who's an IFBB pro bodybuilder. I hadn't checked out his products. So I was like, okay, I'll check him out. And I knew that he'd said on his podcast, because I've followed him and Luke Sando and all that. And I know he'd said that, he's dosing things at clinical doses. He's, putting in non-bullshit ingredients in terms of putting in stuff that's expensive that might not, help his bottom line in terms of making money. But he wants to put it in there. And he said it's a product by bodybuilders for bodybuilders. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And a lot of these products that are made by pro bodybuilders or people that are well respected in the industry, like John Meadows and a heap of others, they end up being really good products, and they end up actually being the best ones, regardless of if they sell more or not or whatever. And when you look at his pump product, which I mentioned to you, Mick, it's a 32-gram serve. And I was like, okay, when I first saw that, I was expecting to look down the list and see a bunch of carbs or something like that. And it wasn't. It was 3 grams of creatine monohydrate. It was 6 grams of citrulline. It was 2 grams of mushroom extracts, which obviously are not cheap as well. He's got huperzine A in there. He's got a ton of 3 grams of glycerol, which is just, he's putting in doses that are unheard of, in a lot of realms, because they're too expensive to put in. And it's, how expensive is it to make a product that is a pump product that has no extra carbs and no crap added to it, that's 32 grams. It's not a cheap product. So that when I saw that, I was like, yeah, we need to talk. And we talked, we sorted out a deal, and I couldn't be happier. And he's got a great team. Like, there's only 4 sponsored athletes right now, and I'm one of them, because he sponsors me and the channel. And the other dude, like, he's got one guy on there that's just like, he's going to be a classic physique pro. There's no two ways about it. And there's another few really good guys too, but they're all good people. So I think he's building something, and he's starting really well, because he's starting with good people that we're all, like, we've got a group chat going on, and we're just encouraging each other heaps. And it's like, it's really cool to be part of a team where, you're encouraging each other and everyone gets on. There's good products, so there's no issues, me promoting it. It's like, I said to Fuad, I said, man, you've made it very easy for me to promote this product, because the products are awesome. So, man, I couldn't be more happy, and it couldn't have come at a better time for me as well. And I mentioned to you, I'm waiting for gyms to open back up so I can get a few of my coaching clients back. So it couldn't have come at a better time. And I just want to thank Fuad and everyone, and his partner as well, Summer, who's great and works on the business as well. So they've got a great team over there. And man, I honestly couldn't be happier. So if people do want to support this channel as well, it also helps a lot if you guys use my code ZAVE10. Also, the link's in the description as well. So couldn't be happier.
congrats on that too, Matt, because like I said, when you actually rang me up and asked me about it, and I look into a lot of companies over here and what they do, and I was already a big fan of them. They make quality products. Their ingredients are quality. Yeah. So I thought that's very, very happy for you.
Yeah, because after I spoke to Fuad, the first person I called was you. I was like, okay, Mick, like, what do you think? Have you heard things or whatever? And you were nothing but, you were very positive about it. So I was like, cool. Basically got the go ahead from Mick, so I'm good. So,
there you go.
But yeah, it's brilliant, man. So I'm very, very happy. So anyway, that's it for another episode of a weekly bodybuilding breakdown. Make sure you follow Mick on social media and all that sort of stuff, and myself, and keep up to date with what we're doing. And we're going to have a second episode coming out this week as well, either tomorrow or the next day. It's going to be a Q&A for you guys as well. So listeners, questions by the listeners. So thank you so much, and I think you guys will really enjoy that. If you guys like this content, please give me a thumbs up on this video, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills, at Desktop Bodybuilding, and you won't miss out on one of the episodes of the Weekly Bodybuilding Breakdown. So for Michael Galley and myself, Xavier Wills, for Desktop Bodybuilding, we are out.